Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
Welcome back, baseball fans. 1974-77 Carryover League. We have a big game today. A game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Cincinnati Reds. Interleague play. Boy, what a classic matchup this is. As it turns out, it's the first place teams from the American League East and the National League North from a year ago. Funny that both teams were the #1 seeds a year ago. For the Orioles, it was very fortuitous. They didn't look that good on paper, but they climbed to the top, only to be bounced in a league championship series by the White Sox. And the Reds were easily the best team in the whole sport, the #1 seed, and yet they got knocked out in the divisional round. These teams have a history. They met in the 2020 World Series. If you've been watching this channel, I started broadcasting games in the summer of 2020, and those teams met in that World Series. I'll get to that in a second. But right now, in the short, quick view, we know Baltimore beats the Reds in the 1970 World Series. In my 2020 World Series, which is just coincidental, 50 years later, the Orioles swept them 4 straight. And then in the Fall League, 8 years into the future, in like the late 70s era, Baltimore-Cincinnati played for the championship, and the Orioles won that one. Imagine if the 1979 Cincinnati Reds beat the Pirates in the league championship series. Baltimore would beat Cincinnati in that World Series instead of losing to the Pirates. It's kind of how that worked out. But right now, at least right now, the Reds got the Orioles where they want them. In the middle 70s. We're talking about the middle 75-76 Big Red Machine and the lean times of the decade for Baltimore when they missed the playoffs in 75, and 76, 77, 78. It's the lean time for Baltimore. Or so we think. First, I gotta mention the game 1 is was a battle between Mike Cuellar and Don Gullett. Okay, interesting. I'm going to take you back to an old box score here, folks. The spreadsheet hasn't changed that much over the years. Don Gullett versus Mike Cuellar in that World Series game. And Baltimore wins 10-5. Gullett gets knocked around. Cuellar throws a complete game, 6 hits and 5 runs. Then 3 days later, or 4 days later, depending on the days off, in Game 4 of that World Series, Mike Cuellar and the Orioles beat Don Gullett 7-3 to win the World Series. Cuellar, complete game, 9 innings, 6 hits, and 3 runs. Oh, by the way, I just happen to have it open. Game 4 of the 1970 World Series, the real one, it's actually Game 5. Cincinnati won Game 4 in Baltimore. But Baltimore and Mike Cuellar beat the Reds 9-3. The Reds got 3 runs in the first inning on an RBI by Johnny Bench and a 2-run double by Hal McRae in that game off of Cuellar. And Cuellar's final line, look at that. 9 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, a walk and 4 strikeouts. Similar line to the game in my spreadsheet we just saw. And it wasn't Don Gullett this time. It was, because he wasn't around in 70, I don't think. It was Jim Merritt who lost that game. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at Game 1 of the series. Don Gullett versus Mike Cuellar. First inning, the Reds get a single out of George Foster. He is stranded. Bottom of the second inning, an error on Pete Rose. Then you have a Brooks Robinson double. Blair jams on the brakes, doesn't want to take on the Geronimo arm, and they both get stranded after a strikeout and a force out. Reds get a walk, stolen base by Joe Morgan, stranded. Bottom of the fourth inning, ground ball to Pete Rose, an error after a strikeout. Ground ball to Dave Concepcion, an error. 2 more outs, they're stranded. Fifth inning, we get a 2-out single by Geronimo. Nope, he ain't coming home. Top of the sixth, Pete Rose single, Ken Singleton walk, Lee May double play. Seventh inning, a 2-out double by Dave Concepcion. Geronimo pops out. Bottom of the seventh after 2 outs, Gullett walks Earl Williams, walks Doug DeCinces, and Belanger grounds out. Bottom of the eighth inning, Baltimore gets a single by Gritch, a walk by Singleton, next 2 guys pop out. Reds have a rally in the ninth. A single by Perez, a walk by Griffey, and they're stranded. And that's how the 9 innings go. 9 innings in the books for Gullett and Cuellar, and they get no decisions. Gullett, 2 hits in 9 innings, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. Cuellar, 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Keep in mind the Reds have made 3 errors in this game. So both teams go to their lefty relievers, continuing the trend that these teams are slumping versus lefties. Let's just follow up one lefty with another. Baltimore, it will be Grant Jackson. Cincinnati, it'll be Dave Tomlin. 3 up and 3 down in the top of the 10th. Bottom of the 10th, you get an error by Johnny Bench. A sac bunt. An error by Dave Tomlin. And then 2 more outs. And so after making 5 errors in this game, Baltimore still has not scored. Top of the 11th inning, you get a Rose pops out, Foster singles, Tony Perez strikes out, Ken Griffey walks, but Johnny Bench hits into a fielder's choice to end that threat. Bottom of the 11th inning, Paul Blair singles, and our boy Brooks Robinson loves to hit and run. He's a B-hit and runner. A hit and run single. Runners on the corners, and finally, the hero, Earl Williams, rolls fly ball B off the Dave Tomlin card, and Baltimore does it to him again, folks. In excruciating fashion. This is sort of like the Celtics versus the LA Lakers in the 60s, you know, when Boston Celtics beat the Lakers like 6 straight or 7 straight times in the finals. The Orioles just seem to have Cincinnati's number. How do you not score with this offense? I know Baltimore's got a great pitching staff. I wouldn't think Cuellar's the best pitcher in the game. He's very good. I get it. But you got nothing. And it's not the first time either for the Reds to be shut out this year. It's happened before. Baltimore wins Game 1, 1-0. And before we play Game 2, I got to take a peek at the standings with you folks. This is big. This is a big deal. I know it's interleague play. It's not normally a big deal, but it suddenly is. Baltimore is scorching hot. They've never been scorching hot offensively. But they have a 5-game lead on everybody in a really puzzling American League East. And the best team in the sport, the Big Red Machine, at least the team we think is the best team in the sport, well, they're 5-7 right now, inexplicably, in a very competitive division where the Cardinals have a hot start at 5-1. That all leads today to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Boy, do they need to win a baseball game. Or 2. Win this one and go back to Baltimore and win the rubber match. But my goodness, Cincinnati, you actually need... When was the last time we said the Reds need a win? I mean, they just get them. They just fall into their laps. They don't have to do that much. They just put the cards out there, drop the dice, and they get the win normally. But not this year so far. Today's matchup's not going to be any easier. For Baltimore, it will be their ace, Jim Palmer. 1975 23-game winner with a 2.09 ERA in 323 innings. And the Reds will follow with Mr. World Series, Gary Nolan. Every time the Reds go to World Series, Gary Nolan's in it. And when he's hurt or injured, they miss the playoffs. That's how it kind of went in 71, 74, and so forth. 73. In 75, Gary Nolan was 15-9 with a 3.16 ERA in 211 innings. Starter 9, Palmer. Starter 6, Nolan. That could come into play. Unless the Reds just clobber Palmer randomly, where he's just the next guy on the mound and suddenly they break out of their slump. And when and if the Reds break out of their slump, it'll look pretty amazing. Also, the Reds have tweaked their lineup after 12 games. That's all it took. More of a Sparky Anderson type of lineup now. It's Rose, Griffey, Morgan, Foster, Bench, Perez, Geronimo, Concepcion, and the DH Crowley at the bottom. It's more of kind of what Sparky would have done with Rose at the top there. All right, leading off for Baltimore, it's Bobby Grich. 1-7's a walk. B. Steeler, of course, Baltimore's not excited to hit steal bases off of Mr. Bench. Belanger. 1-11, fielder's choice. Now, Belanger's an ace stealer at first base. For Al Bunbury. 3-9 is a walk. 2 on for Ken Singleton. 6-10 off Nolan is third X. Rose inexplicably made 2 errors yesterday, yet he's a 3E13. And it's a ground ball C. So we have runners at second and third with 2 outs, and Eddie, Eat, Drink, and Be Murray, your 1977 Rookie of the Year runner-up. 2-8, let's take a look at Eddie. Eddie Murray, this is his first card. First base, 4E13, few years he'll be a 1. Played left field just to get him into the lineup with Lee May and a designated hitter. 27 home runs and a 283 average. 2-8 is a base hit to center field. 1 run scores. Bunbury, he's actually going to run on the Geronimo -4 arm. And he scores on a 2. 2-0. Paul Blair. 48 is a single to center field. Murray will hold it second. And it's Brooks Robinson. 55, a roller to second base. Okay, this is what we're all waiting for. The Cincinnati Reds, embarrassed, humbled, disgraced by not scoring in 11 innings. Not scratching out a run somehow. I don't know how you cannot scratch out a run, but that's what happened. And so they are looking for, even though it's Jim Palmer, I get all that. They're looking for at least 1 inning where they bat around and score 4 runs in it. In at least one of the innings today. Don't know where it's going to be, but that's what that's the target. Pete Rose now leading off. We'll kind of analyze what Morgan would have done if he was leading off. So it didn't matter. 67 is a strikeout. And now it's Ken Griffey. 68, lines the third. Well, that's a theme, too. If you constantly keep rolling on the Hall of Famers card, you're probably going to get shut out. Joe Morgan, 68, and there you go. 3 straight 6 columns off Jim Palmer to start the game. Top of 2, it's Bill Sharp for Baltimore, 47, a strikeout. The Dipper, Rick Dempsey, 311, fly ball to right B, plus an injury. We're trying to get this guy in the lineup, and he gets hurt. So we'll go back to Earl Williams to finish the game. Okay. Back up top to Bobby Grich. 410, he pops the first. Bottom of 2, it's George Foster. 39 is a walk. Johnny Bench. 2-8. Johnny Bench. Let's take a look at his card for your 1975 Bench. Probably his last big home run year. Actually, you know, I think he might have hit 31 of those in 77. He's got 28 here in 75. And a 283 average, but 39 doubles. I really like that. And, of course, if you need a guy to play first base in a pinch, maybe some left field, some right field in a pinch, call Johnny Bench. He'll go out there for you. Homer 1-7, double the rest, and it's one of those 39 doubles. Foster, a 15 runner. Do you want to take on the Blair arm? No. Baby steps here with this offense. Second and third, Tony Perez. 62, pitcher B. Everybody sort of holds to the bag, and Batters retired. Still second and third for Geronimo. 59, and that is second C, and the runner will score. Runner from second goes to third in a 2-1 game, and it's Dave Concepcion. 5-10 off Palmer is a strikeout. Hey, they got a run. We go to the third. It's Mark Belanger, 64. Catcher sex. Bench off a 1E5 catcher who incredibly made an error. I can't believe the Reds made 5 errors in that game. Didn't score a run in 9 innings and still had a chance to win. A better than average chance to win. Al Bunbury, 4-10. Lines is short. Ken Singleton, 1-8 is a base hit. And Eddie E. Drinkin' B. Murray, 3-6. He connects again. Single on a 14. It's a base hit. 2 on. 2 outs. For Paul Blair. 3-11 pops to first. Bottom of the third, it's the Crow, Terry Crowley, former Oriole, Terry Crowley, future Oriole, Terry Crowley. 2-6, single 1-5, and he gets it on a 2. The Crow. Now you got Pete Rose. 3-10 is a walk. That would have been an out if it was Morgan. Ken Griffey. 45 off Palmer, triple 1-5 is a single dot. And here come those big red machine guys in a tie game. Runners on the corners. For Morgan, they will play it back. 68 lines the third. Frustrating for them. George Foster. 3-7's a strikeout. Big moment here. Johnny Bench with 2 on and 2 outs. 45 off Palmer. He picks them up. He picks his team up. He carries them on his back. Johnny Bench, 4-5 is triple 1-6. He legs out a 3-bagger off of Palmer. And a 2-2 game is suddenly a 4-2 game. Bench had 1 triple in 75. That might have been it. No, they didn't have interleague baseball then, so we know it wasn't. That's okay. Tony Perez, 66, flies to right. All right, Baltimore down, finally, 4-2 in this series. Do they play any differently? Brooks Robinson, 3-5, single 1, line out. Bill Sharp, 3-11, pops out. And 2-8 for Earl Williams is a ground ball to short. Bottom of the fourth. It's Geronimo, 2-5, third. Concepcion, 55. Short X, Belanger is a 1E14 at short. And the Crow, Terry Crowley, 2-9. Rounds to second. It was the Terry Crowley single that ignited that third inning rally. We go to the fifth. Back up top, it's Bobby Grich. 1-3, flies to right field. Belanger, 1-7. Double 1, base hit for your ace stealer. Al Bunbury, 47, is a K, and with 2 outs, it's Ken Singleton. 2-2, I'll roll it to first, and there's Gary Nolan. Picking his team up with a nice start. 4-2 game here in Cincinnati, bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right. Maybe this is what the Reds have to do. I mean, let's face it. They finished the year 2-4 last year, stunningly in the divisional round. And so you combine that, in their last 18 baseball games, they're 7-11. So maybe get all this losing out of their system now, and then go on a streak that lasts all the way through the postseason, and get that chip. Get one of those chips, Reds. You don't have a chip yet. Well, they did. If you recall, the Reds won the what was it? It was the 1970-73 World Series over the Oakland A's. And then they lost the 72-75 World Series to the Oakland A's. They played them twice, and they split with Oakland in 2 World Series, and they've lost the World Series to Baltimore. But now it seems like for the next couple of years, they're going to have the best roster they've ever had. So that's something to look out for here. Bottom of the fifth. It's Pete Rose. 5-11 strikes out. Ken Griffey, 5-10, walks. Joe Morgan, 38 is a walk. 2 on, and it's George Foster. 3-6, single 1-7, cannot get it. And with 2 outs, it's Johnny Bench again, and he comes through for the 3rd time. 1-5 is a base hit to center field. Griffey will run. Should score. Let's see, a 17, yeah, he scores. And Morgan goes to 3rd on the throw. My goodness, it's a day like today where Cincinnati can make, you know, the other starting pitcher, in this case a Hall of Famer, look pretty ordinary. Runners in the corners for Tony Perez. 1-8 is a strikeout. 5-2. We go to the 6th. This is where we think Baltimore just doesn't have the comeback ability with its offense. They're more of a front runner, and they scratch out runs. But we'll see. Eddie Murray, 2-8, and he is on for the 3rd time. Number 5 hitters, Eddie Murray and Johnny Bench, are 6 for 6 right now. Paul Blair, 46. 2nd X, and this is how you eat them up with the defense. Just when you think the offense is going to kill you, defense does the same. The best defense up the middle of the entire sport. Bench, Morgan, Concepcion, double play combination. Geronimo with a -4 arm or a -5 arm sometimes in center field. Doesn't get any better than that in double play. And with 2 outs, it's Brooks Robinson. He flies a lot. Bottom of the 6th. It's Geronimo, 68. Lines a 3rd. Concepcion, 5-10, a strikeout. And the Crow, Terry Crowley, a base hit. Back up top to Pete Rose. 111, a grounder to 1st. Gary Nolan's a starter 6, but he's in no danger of point of weakness. That rough 1st inning, stranded a couple runners, and they've only allowed 4 more runners since. Bill Sharp leads off. 1-7's a walk. Now you got Earl Williams. 6-12 is short X. Concepcion should be a double play, and it is. So now you're seeing the defense playing the way it should play. Could you imagine if making 5 errors in game 1 and getting a win, they'd be sweeping. They could be sweeping Baltimore, but now you have 2 double plays in the last 2 frames. Back up top to Bobby Grich. 112 grounds to 3rd. 5-2 here in Cincinnati. Stretch time. We are enjoying 3x3. The Isley Brothers 1973 LP with bonus tracks galore. Who is that lady? Listen to the music. Sunshine, Summer Breezes on this one. And then multiple versions of those cuts. Some other stuff. By Ohio natives, the Isley Brothers. Back to the game. Finally a nice day in Cincinnati after a gloomy start to the year. Palmer continues. And it's Ken Griffey. 2-8 grounds the 3rd. Joe Morgan, 68. Joe Morgan, my goodness. That's the 6th column for the 3rd time. It's pop out. Did have a walk to extend an inning and give him an extra run, though. And George Foster, 54. Center X. Blair's a 1-7. He makes the catch. We go to the 8th. Gary Nolan's continuing. They're going to roll with a hot thing. Eastwick's the new closer. They got Tomlin from the left side, Bourbon and Carroll. So these are Sparky's weapons. But in this particular instance, they're going to roll with their starter with a 3-run lead. Mark Belanger, 66, flies to right. Al Bunbury, 48. 2nd X, your second baseman, is Morgan, a 1. E13. And with 2 outs, it is Ken Singleton. 3-9 is your walk. And Eddie Murray looking for hit number 4. Here's the pitch. 2-2, ground ball to 2nd A, plus an injury. So he'll have to leave the game, only to be replaced by Lee May, the other first baseman the team had. Those guys often alternated DH and first base in their first year together. Eventually Lee May would be the full-time DH in Baltimore. Bottom of the 8th, Jim Palmer. 5-2 game. You want to save his arm a little bit for the second half of the season? Yeah, let's do that. Let's get Palmer out there after 7 innings. He's down 3 to the Reds. It's not looking very good. Let's give the bullpen some work. We're going to get a Bob Reynolds here in the 8th. Bob Reynolds had a really awesome 73. Has a decent 74. 7.5, 274 ERA, 69 innings. And then he's gone after this year. He'll face Johnny Bench. 45, flies to right. Tony Perez, 57, single 1 of 6, he lines out. And Geronimo, 46, is a strikeout. We go to the 9th, and Nolan's going to try and go for the complete game here. 5-2, and get that monkey off their back, or get that birdie off their back, I should say. In the 9th, all their defense and whatnot is in there. It's Blair, Robinson, and Sharp here in the 9th. Here's your pitch to Paul Blair. 1-3 pops to short. Brooks Robinson, 6'10", third X. Rose, a 3-13, makes the play. And with 2 outs, it's Bill Sharp. 45, fly ball in left field. What a day for Gary Nolan. He looked like it was going to be ugly, coming out of the blocks, and then he settled down magnificently and gives the Reds a pick-me-up. The Reds beat Baltimore 5-2. Setting up a rubber match in Baltimore. That'll be Jack Billingham for the Reds and Wayne Garland for Baltimore. Probably fireworks in that game, folks. Lesser quality pitchers than what we've seen. So we'll give you the box score of this and the result of that game after the break, so stay tuned. All right, folks, here is the box score of the game you just saw, the Cincinnati Reds 5-2 victory. Beating Jim Palmer. Gary Nolan, though, was the top pitching star of the day. Complete game, 6 hits, 2 runs allowed, 4 walks, a couple strikeouts. Palmer had a couple difficult innings early. That would be the difference of this game. Reds drew some walks. That helps, finally. Added to their offense. Still not crushing the ball. The Reds only had 6 hits, but they were very efficient getting 5 runs off those 6 hits. A 5-2 victory, which sends us back to Baltimore for a Game 3 rubber match. And folks, it's just getting more and more peculiar. Let's take a look at game number 3. It is Jack Billingham versus Wayne Garland in this one. All right. Bottom of the first inning, you get a Belanger double. Interesting. And then Al Bunbury hits a ground ball to 1E12 shortstop Dave Concepcion. He throws it over the dugout, and we actually get a run out of it. A 1E12 never does that, but he did it there. And then after an out, you get an Eddie Murray RBI single, 2 unearned runs out of the blocks. And then again, it's like game 1. Memories of game 1. We don't know what's happening. Cincinnati must get bad room service at the hotel in Baltimore they're staying at. They can't do a thing off of Wayne Garland. And the Orioles are just plodding along with that 2-0 lead. We get to the bottom of the 8th inning. Billingham had pitched very well to this point. But he gives up a walk to Ken Singleton, a single to Eddie Murray. So they go to the reliever. The first reliever is Clay Carroll. He gets a strikeout. But Brooks Robinson, an RBI double that makes it 3-0. It seems like the Reds are going to go down in flames again, trailing 3-0. Garland really dominates righties, kind of weak against lefties, so he's pulled for their all-star closer Grant Jackson, the lefty, to face the top of the Red lineup. It starts out well. He gets Rose out on a comebacker to the mound. Then Griffey gets a single off of his card. Morgan gets a single ... off of the Jackson card. Runners on the corners. Morgan actually goes to second without a throw from the catcher since the 3-run game. Second and third, George Foster. Kaboom! They strike like a snake here in the 9th with a vicious 3-run bomb. A 3-0 game is now 3-3 as Grant Jackson blows the save. Bench grounds out, and then, this is just as a footnote, ground ball to Mark Belanger. He makes an error. So, Rosa's made 2 errors in the series. Concepcion's made 2 errors. Blander's made an error in the series. Don't know where this is coming from. No more scoring in the 9th or in the 10th. And in the 11th inning, Baltimore has to go to their second reliever, Dyer Miller. And he faces Joe Morgan. He flies out. He strikes out George Foster. And he gets Johnny Bench to ground out. So Tomlin follows Clay Carroll. Needs some help from Bourbon in the bottom of the 10th, who finishes that inning. So Bourbon starts the 11th inning off. He walks Bobby Grich. Baltimore has an opportunity to bunt, hit and run, do something like that. But, you know, this is like Mark Belanger's best offensive year of his career, 1976. So he hits away. He rolls second X off of Morgan for the double play. And it looks like we'll be here all night, folks. It looks like we're going to 16 innings. Not so fast. 2 outs, no one on. Bunbury scratches out a single. And then it's Ken Singleton off of the Pedro Bourbon card. Homer, 1 of 13 double. Ken Singleton walks the game off with a 2-run homer. There's a case where you leave Raleigh Eastwick in there to close out a save, but the Reds never got a lead in this thing. And Bourbon takes the defeat in the bottom of the 11th inning from Baltimore. Final score 5-3. Dyer Miller gets the win. Pedro Bourbon gets the loss. And more disappointment for the Cincinnati Reds in this series. At least they won a game. They won the middle game. What's it all mean, folks? Let's go back first to the standings again, because technically nothing's changed since you saw it the first time. The team split 2 games. So yeah, the distance there is exactly the same. The Reds are just kind of pushing their, you know, they're really going to make this, you know, I tell you what, the Pirates, Cardinals, and Cubs, they recognize that this is actually just going to be a knockout fight for all 4 teams. The big fear was that the Reds would run away with this thing, and it's not happening. So now the Cardinals are in the catbird seat, but they're gonna be considered the underdog, and teams are gonna come after them. So we'll see if the Cardinals can hold on to their lead in that division. Let's take a look at some stats now. What has gone wrong for the Reds this year? They're 6-8. They're hitting .254 with a .383 ERA. I would say I'm okay with that ERA. It's the hitting is not good enough. Just not good enough. I don't know. The top hitter is Foster. He's 17 for 61, which is pretty good. He's hitting .279. That's not that good. He's got 3 home runs. He's got 14 RBIs in 14 games. So he's doing the RBI thing, just not enough homers for that 77 card. Joe Morgan must be in a horrific slump. He is 12 for 52 with 2 stolen bases. Yeah, Joe Morgan's hitting .231. I think he started slow last year or the year before that. And Pete Rose the same. They both seem to... Whatever Rose is doing, Morgan's doing generally the same thing, we've noticed. Pete Rose is hitting .238. Yeah. You know, it's almost like they're doing the 74 thing. And it's not, and they shouldn't. They have the great cards. They're just not hitting their cards. They're rolling on... You saw Joe Morgan. He's rolling on the pitcher's card most of the time. And Morgan has 15 walks in 14 games. That's good. Just 2 stolen bases, though. Just don't know what to make of this big red machine. Foster with the 3 home runs and Bench has a couple. Just quicksand. They gotta figure out. They're not scary for whatever reason. I don't know. It's 2 years or a year in the last series of last year. Something happened to the Reds, and they gotta find their mojo. Baltimore is 9-3. They're now hitting .262, which is still a little over their heads, but not really. The Orioles have had this weird consecutive streak of like hitting .238 as a team, when all the hitters are technically much better than that, but they still win anyway with a great pitching staff. So a .262 average is like hitting .300 for other major league teams. The team ERA is .287. Grant Jackson has been bailed out several times this year now. He's 1-0 with 2 saves, but he's given up 12 hits and 6 2/3 and 7 runs. Dyer Miller, the righty setup guy, is the good one. 6 innings, a couple hits, 9 strikeouts. 2-0 with a save. Maybe they should switch closers. Jim Palmer's 1-2. He's struggling with that 75 card. We got 3 homers and 10 RBI for none other than the rookie Eddie Murray. He is a joy in the clubhouse here for Baltimore. The rookie is pacing the team in homer and RBI. Wow. And Al Bunbury is 17 for 51. That's pretty good. Al Bunbury's hitting .333. That's just about what the card would suggest. Baltimore doing Baltimore stuff. So let's break it up for those Baltimore Orioles. They do it again. They have this mystique over the Cincinnati Reds. They beat them 2-1. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.